it's me, Tiana, back at it again for another video, and today we're talking about Gabbie Hanna. So, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If you're not new to this channel, then you know my favorite thing to say, or something that I always say, is just that I don't really like talking about real people, but I want to talk about Gabbie Hanna because I just find the internet's like perception and idea and like the conversation around her to be so interesting. I guess I just find it so interesting how someone can go from being a regular person to being sort of like quasi-famous, because I don't know if like internet personalities are really famous outside of the internet, but like, and just to see how like perceptions of you change along the way and how you deal with like regular life issues that everybody has, but in front of all these people, and as someone who's not traditionally famous, so you don't have like a team around you who's guiding you through these problems, these issues, these scandals, you have to kind of do it yourself. I just find it so interesting. I find her story just very interesting. As always, I do have notes, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So the first thing I want to start off with is just, who is Gabbie Hanna? So Gabbie Hanna is an internet personality. I'm pretty sure she started on Vine and she got fairly popular on there. She was doing like comedy Vines, I think. Then once Vine started to die down, she transitioned to YouTube and began making YouTube videos. My relationship to Gabbie is just, I don't even want to say I follow her because I'm not subscribed to her on anything. I don't follow her on Instagram, or I don't use Instagram because I hate it. I have Instagram, but I don't really use it because I hate Instagram, but that's a different video for a different topic. But I don't follow her on Twitter. I've never followed her on like Snapchat or TikTok or any of those websites. I know her because my sister liked her videos. My sister is more in her demographic. We're like 7 years apart, so this would have been when my sister was like a teenager, 14, 15, 16 years old. She was following Gabbie. I think she found her through Liza, like Facebook videos of Liza that led her to Gabbie, which led her to David. And so the only thing I knew about Gabbie was that like she was like in a friend group who like made videos. My sister would make me watch like David's vlogs, like not all of them randomly. She would just be like, oh, watch this one, it's really funny. So I've seen a couple of his vlogs with Gabbie in them. After Gabbie started to like really blow up and was like more talked about, I guess, in internet circles, had a couple scandals, I started to see more and more people talking about her, and YouTube also started to suggest her videos to me. I'm assuming because my sister was making me watch David videos, and that was in like my recent or history. Then they started with like, oh, if you like David, then you'll probably like Gabbie or whatever. So I started to get her videos and recommend it. I have seen a couple of her videos. My sister made me watch a couple of her story times, and then that's like really it. I guess I'll say I'm a casual watcher of Gabbie. I don't really know a bunch about like her content previous to like maybe a year or two ago. That's when I started to like watch her more, just simply because I'm fascinated by her. Like the last scandal, or the biggest scandal that she had, I think was like a couple months to a year ago, and that's when I started to like really pay attention. And that's like toxic. Like I know that's toxic, that I only found her interesting when she was going through drama, but I was just more interested in how she was going to react to the drama more than it was like feeding into the hate train or the pile on of her. Like I wasn't like attacking her in her comments or like anything. I was just curious of how she would react to and how she would respond to some of the things that people were accusing her of. So that moves us into why people hate Gabby. So these are what the scandals and stuff that I know that Gabby was in. There's a great video on Smokey Glow's YouTube channel that I'll link in my description box, where she goes like through the whole career of Gabby. I watched that video and I did remember most of those like scandals and stuff that she brought up. So I guess even though I was only like passively paying her any attention, because I'm so on the internet, I saw a lot of the stuff in the drama. So the first thing that I kind of saw when about Gabby was like the Rice Gum thing. I could not tell you who Rice Gum is. All I know is that he is a YouTuber who like was making diss tracks with Logan Paul. I don't know the difference between Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and I refuse to look it up. But one of those Paul brothers, they were making diss tracks back and forth. I vaguely saw that. I don't know anything about either one of those people, but that's the only thing I know about Rice Gum. And I knew he got into some kind of altercation with Gabby and broke her phone, and she was like at the time like really close and linked up with the Vlog Squad. And if my memory is correct, after that situation and people there was also like a scandal about her stealing jokes around the same time, so people were like poised to be like, I hate, like, you know, just petty internet stuff. And then this whole scandal with Rice Gum, where people felt like she was over dramatic about the situation, or that she was exaggerating or lying about what actually happened to her phone and with him. And people in the Vlog Squad were starting to like distance themselves from her. And there was this blog on Tumblr, I think it was called like Keeping Up with the Vlog Squad, that I also found very interesting, because who cares that deep about people's personal lives? And you would be able to like, they would post like, somebody in the Vlog Squad would post like a Instagram post, and then you'll have 50 people in the comments trying to dissect what each individual like second of that Instagram post or Snapchat video meant, and what it was hinting to, and like try to place the dots of, okay, so they were all here together at this time and this person was wearing this outfit, and they turned that into like, okay, we know the video is going to come out on this day, and then that video is going to be about this thing, and you can see from the thumbnail it's the same shirt from the Snapchat, so it must have been filmed this day. I found that fascinating. But during this time period, you started to see Gabby and other people's like content less, and you saw the people who were like fans of the Vlog Squad start to realize that something was happening between Gabby and the Vlog Squad. And then Gabby did a couple interviews where she was basically like, she likes to know that her friends are her friends, and not just people who are friends with her for content or friends with her to record. And she wanted to separate the stuff that she did on the internet from her real life friendships. And people started to take that to mean that she was like throwing shots at the Vlog Squad and kind of implying that their friendship was fake, because they record every like moment, every minute of their content, of their relationship. So like, yeah, they might be friendly to each other, but you can't really be friends because it's a business transactional relationship or whatever. And I think she did an interview or made a comment or something saying that that wasn't true, that she was talking about all of her friendships and she wasn't being like specifically targeting them or whatever. But the fans ran with it, and that blog on Tumblr that I was talking about really would like be dissecting every single post from her or anybody from the Vlog Squad to try to pinpoint and figure out what exactly it is about that went down between Gabby and the Vlog Squad, and try to figure out like where the rift is, why the rift, and truly just did not believe that she was still friends with them, but just wasn't filming with them. And I feel like that's when the tide towards Gabby sort of changed, when people felt like she wasn't friends with David anymore and felt like she must have wronged David, and that's why they weren't friends. Sort of brought a lot of vitriol and hate her way. And then the other thing, she had like I don't want to say it was a small scandal, but to me it wasn't that big of a deal, but I can see how other people felt like it was a big deal. But I also feel like I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and if they tell me they didn't mean for something to be like what it was, then I'll take their word at it. But she had an issue with, I think it was Kimra Cosmetics, where she had on her Snapchat, like, posted a video or something and was like, hey, these brushes are worth like $70 or something like that, but they're selling them for just the shipping, free with just the shipping. You know, go to his website, check out these brushes, they're great. People were buying the brushes, and like, some people never got the brushes, some people got the brushes and they were really cheap, and then other people, or some people, had found the brushes on like AliExpress for like 13 cents or something like that. So they were like, these are not $70 brushes, you're lying. Like, you know, you scammed us basically into buying these brushes thinking that they're high quality brushes, and then you get the iconic manage your expectations statement from Gabbie. And I did watch that video. She was coming off very much as, okay, and what do you want me to do sort of about it. And it's like, I feel like you have to, when you are the face that is telling someone to buy something, regardless of what your stake is in that company, people are going to be looking at you and holding you responsible for whatever it happens. Like, if you are the spokesperson for Burger King, if somebody go to Burger King and their burger not cooked right, they're gonna be like, now why you telling me to go to Burger King, you know the burger not cooked right? You know, like, they're gonna blame you like you was the one in the back making burgers. So I feel like in that instance, she should have done more research on that product before she promoted it. She should have used those brushes, or at least looked at the reviews or something to make sure the company itself was reputable. Like, even if she was like, you know, these are $10 brushes that I just said was $70, which is still a scam. But like, if everybody got the brushes and they were like decent brushes that would be worth $10, I'm like, is it a scam? Or is it that big of a deal of a scam? Like, yeah, she said it was worth $70, but you pay $10 for brushes that were worth $10, and they work, and you got them, and it's like, it's not that big of a deal. But because so many people just flat out didn't receive anything, it was problematic. It was problematic. It was just simply problematic. So the other thing that people are really upset with Gabbie about is a little bit more serious, and I guess I'll give a trigger warning right now for, I'm going to be talking about sexual assault. When Gabbie was friends with another YouTuber called Jessie Smiles, I do want to say that I don't really know who Jessie Smiles is. I only knew her from like this beef with Gabbie. I had never heard of her before she put out her video after Trisha put out her video dragging Gabbie. That was the first time I had ever heard of Jessie Smiles. I didn't know about their relationship. So the only thing that I know about Gabbie and Jessie Smiles, like, personally, is the stuff that has come out recently. The video that she posted that I watched, the video that Gabbie posted that I watched, and like some of the tweets, because like I said, I don't follow Gabbie on Twitter, so like, I did go to her Twitter one day and look at some of the tweets when she was going through her breakdown, which is actually the first time I started to record a video about Gabbie. But I just scrapped it because I hadn't had all my thoughts together on her yet before I started recording. But anyways, so the issue with I also want to know, I don't know anything about Curtis Lepore except that he assaulted Jessie Smiles. I never knew who Jessie Smiles was, but when I was on Tumblr, I used to see people talking about Curtis Lepore and how he was a rapist and how he assaulted, but I never really saw who the victim was. So like, once I watched, I don't know which one of the videos that I watched that actually named who she was talking about. I don't know if it was Jessie's video or Gabbie's video or a drama video, because I did watch a couple drama videos about it, trying to figure out what was going on. But that was when I pieced together that the Curtis Lepore was the person, that she was the one that he had assaulted. Yeah, I don't even know if any of that is relevant, but I just want to make it clear. I could be like getting some of this information wrong or confused or not have all the context for it, because I don't know anything about this except for, like I said, what Gabbie said and what Jessie said, and just taking my own like logic and trying to piece out what the story might be. So the biggest issue that people have with this situation is just simply that Jesse either said outright or implied that Gabby was like hanging out or doing stuff with Curtis after the assault, and after she knew about the assault, she was still hanging out with him, still doing content with him, still supporting him. And the implication was basically that she cared more about her brand and like making money or being close to like famous people, because I guess he was a big TikToker, YouTube Viner, but I don't really know. And she cared about like Vine fame more than she cared about her friendship and also supporting survivors. And Gabby's explanation for this was just that she did see him at a party that she went to with somebody else, or she saw somebody else there and he also was there with that person. And that she immediately distanced herself from him. She also says that she has never done anything with him after the fact. She said she did post one of his Vines because they were doing like a Vine for Vine thing where you just send the link and then you post the video. And she said she didn't watch the video before she posted it. And then once she realized it was a Curtis video, she removed it from her page. I believe her when she says that she didn't do anything with him after she found out, because I don't really see anything that shows. Like, I feel like if there was like hardcore proof that Gabby had done a video or had done like some kind of content or anything with him, it would have surfaced by now. Like, we would, even if she like posted it and then deleted it, like somebody would have took a screenshot or made like a screen grab or got something from that video that would be able to show proof. I think the issue that people like really harp on is Jesse saying that Gabby told her to her face or over the phone that she could still hang out with people who were associated with Curtis because his friends didn't rape her. And that's terrible. Like, if that's true, that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to say. There's not really like an excuse or like a way to like talk or discuss that through. Like, that's just horrible to say to somebody. And then Gabby kind of like confirmed that she said it. She said that she didn't remember saying that specifically, but she may have said it, and that she was probably trying to be, you know, mean or hateful or hurt her, and that's why she said it. If she said it, but she's not sure if she said it. And honestly, I can believe that as well, especially because the situation is like so long ago. I can believe her being like, I don't remember saying that, but I might have said that. I feel like that's a fair thing. I don't know that everybody remembers every argument or every discussion or every issue that they've ever had with anybody and verbatim every word that they said in an argument. So I respect her for saying that she doesn't remember saying it, but she might have said it. But yeah, that's like, if you hate Gabby for that specifically, that you have every right. So those are the big things that people like really hate her for. Or the issues that I've seen. I could be missing something. And then there was another category of hate that I felt was just a little bit petty. But again, that's my own personal beliefs. Like, believe what you want to believe. Be mad at whoever you want to be mad at. Cancel whoever you want to cancel. I don't care. I will be talking about cancel culture at the end of this video though. So boom, I have Gabby's book. It's a first edition book. This is from 2017. It's from 2017, whenever her first book first came out, Adultolescence. This is not my book. This is my sister's book. Like I said, she was a big fan. And I had watched a video of this girl. I can't remember her name, but I'll link her video at in my description box, and she was talking about how Gabby's poetry is bad, and I'm pretty sure she was the first person to like make the video about Gabby's poetry being bad. And then you saw a deluge of people making videos and content about how bad Gabby's book was, how her poetry was terrible, and yada yada yada. And when I decided that I wanted to make this video about Gabby and my thoughts on her, I was like, I have to read the book. Like, I have to read the book. And I knew my sister had it. So I was like, let me look for the book. So I searched through my house to find the book, and I found it and I read it. So, and I do have a couple thoughts about the book. The first thing I want to say is it's bigger than I thought it was, but it only took me like a day-ish to read it. I took it to work and was like reading it in between doing work. And it only took me like one day of half reading it well, not actually reading it while I was half working. So it's a thick book, but it was a quick read. And I honestly felt like people were being mean about the book, and I just don't understand why. Like, I don't get why people hate this book. I don't feel like the book is like groundbreaking, earth-shattering, like the greatest book that's ever came out in the last 20 years. Like, nobody is seeing her artistic intelligence, but like, it's not really terrible. I think that it's a book by a YouTuber who's catering to her YouTube audience of young girls. A lot of the poems are very simple. A lot of the poems are like very surface level. I saw in the video that I was talking about, she was like, her main critique was that the poems were very simple and that there was no like real depth. They were very superficial. And I guess I could agree to that in some extent for some of the poems. Like, a lot of these poems, especially the really short ones, felt to me like they could have been tweets, but that also is, I'm assuming, was the point, because, you know, she's an internet personality. She wanted to have like internet culture in the book. Like, she had like very much like internet speak, no punctuation, lowercase letters everywhere, like BC for because and you for you and all of that. And then she also had just like different structural things that would fit more on the internet. So I think it was the point for those little short poems to be like tweets. There were issues of like rhyme structure being weird. Like, some of the poems, the rhyme structure was just off, so it was hard for me to read. The video that I'm referring to, she talked about that, like, the rhyme structure. She was like, maybe it's because of her accent, and as a American person with an American accent, and I don't have a Philadelphia accent, but it's like, I'm from near Philadelphia, so like the accent is not that much different. It's not an accent thing, it's just her rhyme scheme is off in a couple of these poems. So I will give you that criticism. But overall, I just felt like it was a decent book. Like, it was originally $16, and it's like, I feel like it was worth the money, and it was for her audience, and it fits like her brand. Like, a lot of these poems, if you watch her content, if you watch her videos and read her tweets or her posts or anything, like, it sounds very much like her. A lot of people, a lot of internet personalities will write books that don't feel like they actually wrote it. Like, this feels like she actually wrote this book. Some people are not like, it's not like she was claiming to be a poet laureate. It's not like she thought she was telling you she was Maya Angelou. She wasn't trying to give you Audre Lorde. Like, she was giving you Gabbie Hanna in poetry. Like, I don't understand what people wanted or expected. There were some poems that I really liked. There were poems that I thought were really good, really well done. There were like poems that I was like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know what she was trying to say. But like, overall, I just thought it's an okay book. Like, it's nothing really to write home. Like, I'll probably never read it again. I probably won't like revisit any of these poems, but I also don't begrudge her for making the book. It doesn't feel lazy to me. It doesn't feel like she didn't actually care, that she just put out something for like a cash grab. It feels like she did put a lot of work and feelings. Even if you just look at the drawings in here, like, even if you feel like she phoned in some of these poems, the drawings took a lot of work and a lot of energy and a lot of thought, and the structure of like how the pages and stuff are done. It took like, I don't know. I feel like people are being mean about the book because they already don't like her. And it kind of is an easy target because there are some poems that are really like, what? Overall, I think it's a decent book. And overall, I feel like if you were a fan of Gabbie Hanna and you liked her content, you liked her personality, and you bought this book, I don't feel like you would be disappointed. I don't feel like this book is for me, but I also feel like you know, my sister who bought the book when it came out and was a fan of Gabbie Hanna likes the book, and she liked it and she read it, and she doesn't even really read a lot. Like, she just liked the book and she read it over and over. So like, I don't know what people wanted. The other thing that people were being sort of mean, in my opinion, about was like the monster meme. The whole meme of her, well, the memes of her in general. She just did a video where she was like reacting to memes that people made of her. And while I do think that she's a lot more sensitive than she tries to pretend to be on the internet, and she tries to put on a brave face and act like she's laughing along with the jokes, a lot of the time it doesn't feel like she finds those jokes funny. And some of the memes that I've seen about her just simply are mean, and I don't get it. And I guess that's what we can get into. So in that video that I was talking about, where she just did reactions to memes, she also announced that she was making new merch. So she has new merch that's like bullies with eyes crying, which I don't know if I get it, like with the, because the eyes is for the L's, but it don't look like looking at the shirt, it doesn't look like it says bullies. It's a cute shirt. If I was a fan of Gabbie Hanna, I probably would buy it because it's a cute shirt. I like the design. It just didn't read bullies to me. Like, when she said it said bullies, I was like, oh. But the other merch is your favorite's problematic. And when I saw that shirt, and then her boyfriend was trying to explain the shirt, like what that meant, because I think one of the people that she had on that video was asking what that meant, and she her boyfriend tried to explain it. He didn't know what he was talking about, and then she tried to be like, you don't know what you're talking about, this is what it means, and explain it, but she still didn't explain it well, at least not the context that I know. So like I said like 5 times in this video, I was on Tumblr, and I was on Tumblr heavy, and the Your Fave is Problematic is a Tumblr page. I don't know if she knows that, but it is a Tumblr page where they will basically like give a list of like a famous person and all the problematic things that they've done, right? So that you can make a decision about whether or not you wanted to support somebody, because you can be like, okay, your favorite's problematic. Okay, it's saying that Johnny Bravo kissed this girl without her consent. So, okay, I won't support him. Or like, you know, the Powerpuff Girls beat up Mojo Jojo and he didn't even do anything wrong this time. Okay, I know now, I can't support them. Like, stuff like that. I used cartoon characters' names because I didn't want to make something up about somebody and people just run off with it. Her having that as merch, I think it really suits her. And I think it's interesting that she doesn't know the like context of it, and she still made it merch, because I think it fits her perfect. Like, I feel like Gabbie Hanna and her issues are sort of the right type of person to have that phrase problematic attached to, versus what people say is problematic. Like, people will be like, oh, Johnny Depp is problematic, and it's like, no, he's an abuser. Those are different things. It's not the same thing. Like, people will be like, oh, Chris Brown is problematic. No, he's not problematic. He does crimes. It's not the same thing. Like, problematic doesn't mean that you're a bad person or you sometimes do bad things, but I still like your music, so I want to keep listening to you. Like, problematic, and I think it's an academic sense, but I could be wrong. It might just be an internet thing. But I feel like it's an academic thing. But problematic just simply meant someone who has issues. Like, things that are kind of, so it says problematic means presenting a problem or difficulty. And it's just like troublesome, like just tricky, something that's just like a little bit off. You can't give 100%. I love this person. And also the context in regards to Tumblr was just that everybody has issues, and you have to sort of pick what issues are like deal breakers for you personally, and what issues you like feel like are just not that deep or not that bad. And it sort of came out of the culture on Tumblr of people sort of placing their personal morals on to real people and to like television shows and then television characters, and feeling like if a character was problematic or if a show had issues that were problematic, that you could no longer call yourself a good person if you supported that content. So like I'll use Pretty Little Liars as an example. Pretty Little Liars has a storyline where one of the characters is dating a teacher. That's problematic. It's a little bit more than problematic for me, but it's problematic in the context that it's a TV show. And if you are someone who calls yourself an ally of the women's rights movement and you support that show or you watch that show, then you're problematic as well. And it was like a culture of people who were like, I don't want to use virtue signaling because that has like a alt-right like tinge to it, and that's I don't want to be associated with that. But like just people who felt like their morals had to be perfectly aligned with every single piece of content that they consumed, and that you cannot like things that are problematic. You cannot like things that have issues. If you support people who do things that are problematic, then you are problematic yourself. So I find it very interesting that she didn't really know, or at least she didn't explain the context in the way that I know that phrase, your favorite is problematic, because on Tumblr it's simply just meaning that everybody that you love is problematic, and you just have to pick which people you feel like have changed and haven't changed, which people you feel like are, whose issues, whose problems are enough that you can just move on with your life about, or whose problems you simply just can't support them anymore because of it. So I find it very interesting because I feel like Gabby is the perfect example of having a problematic fave. If you like Gabby, like, she is problematic. There are some issues where it's like I said, the Jessie Smile stuff, I can see how someone could see that situation and be like, I can never support her, and anybody who supports her is a terrible person, because why could you just act like that didn't happen, or act like. And then I can also see how people on the other side could be like, oh, well, that was years ago and she's apologized and she hasn't done anything similar since. And she seems like she's grown as a person and she was young, or whatever excuses people want to make. And say that I can support her, or I feel comfortable supporting her now because the person that did, like, she's grown since she's been that person or whatever. I also find it interesting that people like Gabbie Hanna have this stigma around them where because she was saying she made the shirt because her fans get told all the time that she's problematic. And there is a culture on Twitter that I think is so weird, of stan culture, of people who, if you stan like Ariana Grande, right, and then if you say anything about like a Lady Gaga person, like a stan or whatever, they'll be like, oh, well, you need to worry about how your girl is always in blackface, and try to weaponize the problematic behavior of someone else's fave to be like, don't worry about, you know, my girl not selling out her arena tour, your girl is a racist. And it's like, using racism as a weapon in a fight, like, did you win? Like, I don't understand. Like, because if you look deeply at literally anybody, you can find something that you could weaponize to make them hate you, i.e. cancel culture. But like, at the end of the day, are you bringing this information up because you want people to be aware of the issue, that you want people to like have some actionable like thing where it's like, let me hold this person accountable so that they won't repeat this behavior, let me like let their fans know so they won't continue to support someone who would do this? Or are you just trying to make somebody feel bad for liking someone who's done something that you don't agree with? Like, and like, there are absolutely a spectrum, right? Somebody like Gabbie Hanna, who had one issue, one like serious big issue, and a bunch of little petty stuff, is not on the same like spectrum of issues of people like a Jeffree Star or a Shane Dawson. Plenty of people who I just flatly don't support because I don't like Like some of the things that they've said are things that they're done that, like, big or small, just rubbed me the wrong way. But I also feel like unless you were doing something like terrible and you, to this day, you're unrepentant about what it is that you did, refuse to take responsibility, refuse to acknowledge that you even did it, try to gaslight and downplay what it is that you did, and also continue to do those behaviors, like continue to be like in the sense of like Gabby, in the sense of Jeffree Star, of you're still racist today, like you're still doing racist behavior, you're still fanning like the flames of racism with your fan base, you're still being mean and hateful and a bully, and like, so like, why would I forgive you for the stuff that you did in your past when you're still doing it in your current, right? Versus Gabby, who I feel like is not really bothering people anymore, and the hatred that she gets is just, in my opinion, out of proportion to what she actually did. Like, at the end of the day, her issue with Gabby, with Jessie Smiles, was an interpersonal issue between her and Jessie. I don't believe that she is like a person who just flatly like is misogynist and hates other women and feels like women lie about rape all the time, or don't take their rape like accusations like seriously, or like continues to support racists or surround herself with rapists. I can feel comfortable being like, that was a bad thing that she did. She handled that situation poorly, but it was in the past, and it was an interpersonal issue between her and her friend or ex-friend at the time. And trust her when she says that she's grown, because I haven't really seen any evidence that she hasn't. I just find her really interesting. There are other things that I could have talked about, could have brought up. I actually do like her music. I feel like people are mean about her music and try to act like her music isn't good, but I think she's a decent singer. I think her songs are like fun to listen to. My ringtone for when it's time for me to take my antidepressants, Medicaid, because I just thought it was funny. I had changed it to make my sister laugh, and I just left it. I don't really see what the big deal is about why people like hate her. But again, I also feel like you can hate who you want to hate for whatever reasons. You don't really have to justify it. Like, there are plenty of famous people who I just simply don't like and will never support, just off the strength of they give me bad vibes. And you don't have to have anything more than that, because you support people with your dollars. And that's also why at some point I am going to do a full video about my thoughts on cancel culture. But the biggest takeaway I want you to have is just, cancel culture is not real. Once you get past a certain like level of fame, you will always have fans. Like, you might not always stay at the peak or at the height, or you might not always be able to sell out like stadiums and do tours and whatever it is that like what is like the peak or height of your genre of what you are famous for. Like, you might not always be able to hit the peak, but you'll always have people who will support you. You'll always have people who will buy whatever you put out, because that's just how human beings work. That's how fans work. Like, there are some people, I know for myself, that short of like shooting me in the face, I'm probably gonna support them regardless. Like, people like Beyonce, there's so many things that I could say that Beyonce does that if any single other person did it, I would not like them or not support it. Even blatantly her husband, there are so many things that Jay-Z does that makes me not like him as a person, makes me not like make me not want to support them. And even knowing that Beyonce is his wife and she probably co-signs the decisions that he makes, I'm always going to support Beyonce. I just am. I'm so sorry. I'll just be that bad, terrible fan. The same thing about Rihanna. There's really not too much that sis can do. Like, I'm fine with being called a hypocrite, because I know that everybody is hypocritical. Like, everybody has people who have just a hold on your heart, and they can say whatever or do whatever, and you always gonna hold them down. Like, so that's why cancel culture is not real, because you can't make a big enough disgust of someone that even their day one fans stop supporting them. Like, you can have situations like Harvey Weinstein or R. Kelly, where even today, as we see them going to jail, we see them, like, the stories of woman after woman after woman coming out and saying what they did to them, you still have people who are like, that's my fave, I'm always gonna support him, they're trying to bring him down, blah, 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 blah. And that's partially because of misogyny, but it's also partially because of just the nature of being a fan, of the nature of loving someone. Like, people are going to give you excuses for your bad behavior. So cancel culture is not real. It just simply isn't real. Like, you might lose an opportunity that you really wanted to do. Like, in the instance of Kevin Hart, like, the whole Kevin Hart getting canceled because of his old tweets about gay children. First of all, that was not like a little, like, people tried to make it seem like it was just one old tweet from forever, a long time. No, it was a bunch of tweets where he were being very mean and nasty about black women, about dark-skinned black women specifically, and about gay children, and saying that he would, like, basically kill his son if he was gay. Like, that's not a joke that you make. It's not funny. What's the punchline? A dead child? Like, what's the punchline? It's not funny. And people were mad that he lost his opportunities on the Oscars, but like, he got like a Netflix special where he talked about like the issue of him being canceled. He got like a docu-series on Netflix where he talked about being canceled. Like, he did interview after interview after interview on whatever platform he wanted, talking about him being canceled. Like, how canceled are you that you're on Ellen? Like, how canceled are you to get 2 Netflix specials, like, star in multiple movies? I'm sure he didn't lose any sort of movie. And the bigger thing that aggravates me the most about that situation is that simply they wanted him to apologize. They wanted him to be like, you know what, I'm sorry, I should never tweet that, whatever. And they would have let him still hold the Oscars, but he just refused and let his ego tell him that he didn't have to apologize. Like, and people are mad at gay people, are mad at like allies who were like, those tweets were disgusting and he needs to lose opportunities for doing that. Why would you want to promote someone who holds those kind of views? And like, people were mad at them for saying that versus being mad at him for making the homophobic tweets, or being mad at him for refusing to simply apologize for something that was blatantly hateful. Like, it was no gray area, it was no in between, there was no punchline to that joke. It was just, I'll kill my son if he was gay. Like, I don't understand what people wanted. Like, that was so annoying for you to be mad at people whose entire identity was attacked with that tweet. Like, girl, shut up. Like, you sound dumb. And all they was asking was for him to apologize, and he couldn't do the bare minimum of saying, I'm sorry for saying I would kill my child. Like, what's not clicking? What's not clicking with the homophobes? What's not clicking up here? A lot is not clicking. Like this video if you like this content, if you want to see me do more I guess conversation about internet culture. I do find internet culture and personalities and all that like very interesting. It still falls very much in the lane of me not liking to talk about real people, especially people who already have a lot of hate going towards them, because I don't want to add to the pile, because at the end of the day, the people behind the cameras, the people behind the Twitter, the people behind the Instagram posts are real people who have feelings and emotions and bad days and good days and like hopes and dreams and all that, just like you do. And like, you might feel like, oh, I'm sending one little mean tweet that they'll probably never see in a barrage of like very happy, nice content. But like, just in case you don't want to just not have that on your conscience, when you can simply ignore things that you don't like that's the biggest takeaway I want you to take from this video. If you don't like somebody, don't engage with their content, because whether you like whoever you like or don't like them, if you clicking on their videos to hit the thumbs down, you just gave them a view, and the check is going to clear no matter how many dislikes is on that video. The check is going to clear, okay? If you are commenting on every post that they make on Twitter saying you hate them, that's still engagement, and they're still going to be able to translate that engagement into sponsored products. Okay, the same thing as Instagram. If you're commenting on everybody's Instagram page every day about how much you hate them, they're still going to use those numbers, that engagement number, to get another another post that is paid by somebody else, and they're still going to be able to buy the new Birkin. They're going to be driving around in their new Tesla off your comments. Every time you retweet something, you repost something, you like or comment or engage with something in any way, you're bringing that information to people who may have never saw it if you didn't interact with it. And you're making that person's brand bigger, and you're making them find more fans who can excuse those things that you don't like. That's my advice to the world. Stop watching people you hate. Stop engaging with content you hate. Stop hate following people on social media. Hate subscribing. None of that, because it's just pointless. But yeah, like this video if you like this content. Please subscribe. New videos every Thursday. Sometimes on Monday and Saturday, but typically on Thursday. And I guess that's it. Oh, in the comments, tell me your opinion on Gabbie Hanna. I want to know if I'm the only person who is kind of indifferent. Like, I'm just like, I feel like people are too mean to her, but I also don't care that deep. Like, I feel like it was the part that was like troubling to me was like seeing that day when she was on Twitter for like 48 hours straight, just like responding to every single tweet, and she was clearly in the middle of a mental break. And I just feel like the things that she's done did not warrant the amount of hatred that she had gotten, and I kind of just felt sad for her that the internet that she loved had turned into a place that she could, like, this was like a couple years, maybe 2 years ago, where she was talking about how she couldn't even get on YouTube because it was just Gabby hate video after Gabby hate video after Gabby hate video every single time that she logged onto YouTube, and she couldn't just like scroll through YouTube and find like new content and videos to watch because YouTube was suggesting hate videos about her, and she was saying like new things that people hated about her every day. And I can see how hurtful that could feel. And like, this used to be my safe space, this used to be my fun place, and now I have people telling me they hate me every time I come. But yeah, and I just feel like she didn't earn that.